Okay, we are going to start to draw a floor plan in SketchUp. We're going to use your floor plan that you've created in AutoCAD previously. So this will help you see how you can create a floor plan and construction drawings in AutoCAD and then move that into SketchUp to do your 3D drawings with that. So it's a good use of those two softwares as you go through it. So we've got our interior dimensions of 15 feet 6 inches by 13 feet. You've got our wall thicknesses, your door width and location, window width and location. Again, this should be very similar from what you did in AutoCAD as we go through. So I'm going to open up SketchUp. I'm going to make sure I've done a new file so that it starts as this. I'm going to go to my top view. I'm going to go under camera, make sure I'm in parallel projection. And then I'm going to use my pan just to move it over. So basically, this is giving me the same view as if I was drawing in AutoCAD or on a piece of paper. There are two ways you can draw this. You can either use your pencil tool and draw lines, which is very similar, again, in AutoCAD if you're modeling a line. I'm going to go up 13 feet. You can see down in the lower right hand where my length is, hit enter. I'm going to zoom out so that I can see all of it. I'm going to come over and now do my 15 feet 6 inch line, hit enter. I'm going to come over and I'm going to just highlight that and then pull it over so that I know it matches up and finish that. The other way you can do it is your rectangle tool. Now remember that your red axis is the first number, so I'm just going to start drawing. And then my red axis number is 15 feet 6 inches. And then, sorry, it did not take it for some reason. Then I'm going to put a comma in to let it know I'm entering the next dimension and do 13 feet and enter. I did 13 inches somehow. Not really sure how I did that, but I did. So let's try it again. All right, so I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to do 15 feet 6 inches, comma, 13 feet. Yes, I have it typed correctly now. I'm going to hit, except that I put a comma or a period. 15 feet 6 inches, comma, 13 feet, enter. Now I have my square. All right. So you can do it either way, whichever you prefer. I'm going to delete one of these. So we're just working on one. At this point, you can also come in and this little dashed diagonal line is your person. So I can highlight him and delete him so that I don't have to worry about him anymore. All right, now we are going to use the offset tool to create the walls. Remember, if you look back on your instructions, they're 4.5 inches thick. So I'm going to come inside to where it's highlighted. I'm going to click and pull it out. I'm then going to type in my distance, 4.5 inches. You can see it in the bottom right and hit enter. And I've created my walls. Since we're doing a floor plan, we don't need this middle section. Basically what it is, it's like a flooring face on it. And we're not getting into 3D yet. We're just 2D. So go ahead and highlight that and delete it as you go through. All right, I'm going to switch real quick and show you an ISO view. This is just a flat line. Okay, that's all I've got right now. Okay, so let's go back to our drawings. We have a door that is 2'10" and 6 inches away from the corner. All right, so now we're going to start to use some of our guide markers for this. All right, so I'm going to come in. I want the plus sign showing. I'm going to go to my corner, start to move over, and I'm going to type in 6 inches. Again, you can see it down in the bottom right and hit enter. That's giving me a mark right here. Okay, now I'm going to come and I'm going to make sure I hover right over that guide mark. And again, sometimes it takes a little to get right on it. But it will turn into a circle when it finds it. There we go. Well, there we go. All right, I'm going to click it start to move this way. And now I'm going to type in 2 feet 10 inches, enter. And it's now created a second guide mark. All right. So that's my wall or my door width. Now I can go back to my line tool, my pencil tool. And again, make sure that you are getting on the guide mark so it turns into a circle. You kind of just have to go slower right there. There we go. I'm going to click on that and then come down. I'm going to make sure my line is green so I know that it's on one of the axes. And you'll see where it says, it turns into a square. It says on edge. I know that it's connected. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to move until I get that guide point and then come down to where it says on edge and click. So now I've got my starting point for my door. You can go in now and highlight this space in between and delete it. You'll delete the filled part and the lines up above it, okay? This is a guideline right here, so don't worry about that. We will turn that off at the end. So now I need to draw my actual door and door swing. So I'm going to start here. Now it's an endpoint, so it makes it much easier to find. I'm going to come up 2 feet 10 inches because that's the width of my door. I'm going to come over. We'll make it 1.1 inches thick. Come down. You may want to zoom in. This is again where your guidelines are helpful, and then connect it. So now I have my actual door. And now we are going to use our arc tool. I'm going to click at the inside edge of my door and then the door frame. And I'm just going to move it to the correct angle or curve that I like. All right, when I've done this, it's now created another shape inside. So all you're going to do is you're going to click in here and delete it again, okay? Again, SketchUp is designed for 3D creation, so it's always wanting to create full shapes that you can then make 3D. So I have my door now, so now let's work on our windows. Our windows are 18 inches from the corner and they're 36 inches wide each. I'm going to go back to my tape measure tool and I'm going to mark it off. So I'm going to go to the edge. I'm going to put in 18 inches. Remember, if I just hit 18 with no designation, it's inches because that's where we are with this. And then I'm going to come to this end as well. And I'm going to come over, again, 18 inches, and it gives me a mark there. So that's my starting point. There's another way you can do this, which I like to do, is once I get my initial starting point, I like to go ahead and draw my line. So I'm going to zoom in. Again, make sure you get on that guide before you start drawing. And it does. Sometimes it's just, there we go. Okay, I'm going to click on it. Make sure, again, I'm on a green axis. Go to the edge. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Going to get to my guide point. Come up on edge. All right, so I have the starting points. Now, this makes it a little bit easier for my next line because I can come at the end point. Much easier to find an end point than a guide point. Come over, type in 36 inches. So that's the end of my window. Same thing over here. Find that end point, 36, enter, and we have that. I'll go back to my line tool, guide point, down to edge, guide point, down to edge. So now I have the ends of my windows. And then you're simply going to draw a line across the midpoint. This does show you midpoints. So I'm just going to connect those, which is very easy. The guide points are the hard ones to find. I don't know why they make it that way. They just do as they go through. Okay. So we have that as we go through. I typically will go in and delete this interior portion, so where it's not filled. So what it's doing, it's basically creating a poche or a filled portion for your walls. So you leave that, but open up for your windows. All right. So that gives your floor plan. Now let's go up to view and let's uncheck guides, and that hides all of those lines. Okay. So once you have that completed, you can submit it for your floor plan assignment.